Okay, we'd like to read you a little bit of Kid Normal now, and we're going to zip ahead a little bit in the book, but back in time, because at one point we travelled back to the year 1965. This is chapter 12, The Legend of the Blue Phantom. 1965. It was the middle of the decade nicknamed the Swinging 60s because of the large number of playgrounds that were being built around that time. As usual, Great Britain's most suave and famous secret agent, James James, was taking a long lunch. He sidled up to the bar at his favourite restaurant and beckoned the white-jacketed, brown-moustached barman over with a casual wave of his left eyebrow.
Chocolate milkshake, please, Gaston.
He drawled.
Shaken or stirred, sir?
Asked Gaston. James James was thrown slightly by this, but he didn't let it show.
Stirred, please,
he demanded confidently. The barman turned his back for a moment and then presented him with a glass of milk with all the chocolate syrup sunk to the bottom. James James thought for a moment.
Now, shake it, please, Gaston,
he demanded.
A chocolate milkshake, stirred, then shaken.
Gaston poured the milkshake into a shaker and shook it, which, as the name milkshake implies, is what you're supposed to do. But the super spy failed to notice this, as his attention had been diverted by the woman next to him at the bar. She was wearing a long evening dress, even though it was only long lunchtime, and had wavy dark hair that hid half her face in exactly the way secret agents really like. The spy slid down the bar so he was a bit closer to her, stumbling slightly at the halfway point.
Well, hello there. The name's James. James James,
he oozed. The woman turned to face him with a puzzled expression.
James James James?
She queried.
No, not James James James. Just James James. But please.
He raised his more powerful right eyebrow.
I can't do that one. Don't let's be formal. Call me James. I'm Jane. Jane,
said the woman, flicking her hair back over her shoulder like she was in a shampoo advert.
Really?
Asked James James.
No, not really. That would be ridiculous,
she replied.
Jane Smith.
James James had rather hoped her name would be something more like Squeezy O'Bottom. He was a big fan of a novelty name on a lady, but he didn't let his disappointment show. Instead, he took a long sip on his drink through a stripy straw. He gagged.
Oh, Gaston. This hot chocolate is stone cold. It's a milkshake, sir,
replied Gaston coolly.
And there's a telephone call for you.
He handed James James an old-fashioned black telephone on a silver tray, although the phone didn't look old-fashioned to any of them because it was the 1960s. They thought it looked really quite up-to-date, even though it was plugged into the wall with a wire, which made carting it around on a tray very inconvenient. James picked up the handset, thinking to himself how marvellous modern technology was.
James,
said a voice at the other end, which he recognised as M, the head of the Secret Service. It was short for Emma.
Please, sir, there's no need to be so formal. Do call me James,
began James James.
Shut up and stop calling me sir,
M snapped. She was in a rush and had no time to banter with idiots. Neither did James Smith, who took this opportunity to sneak away, and later enjoyed a long and successful career as an award-winning architect. But that's another more architecture-based story.
It's Dr. Nuke, James, continued M. He's planted a nuclear bomb under London, and he's threatening to detonate it unless we pay him 10 million guineas, 5 shillings and 7 pence halfpenny. And a farthing.
Money back then used to be more confusing.
We've tracked him to the crypt at St. Paul's Cathedral. Hurry, James.
Don't worry, sir. I'm on my way to save Great Britain,
shouted James James into the phone, unnecessarily loudly, causing some diners in the restaurant to look up irritably from their plates of boiled liver. Food back then wasn't great either. After only a 5-minute pause in which he tried to work out how much a farthing was worth, the world's greatest secret agent dashed out of the door and down the stairs to his car. He then dashed back up the stairs and picked up his car keys, before dashing back down again, unlocking his car and getting in. Gaston finished off the milkshake.